Hi, I'm Volkan Yetilmezer. In this video we will make long exposure motion time-lapse video in daylight. I will talk about the normal time-lapse first, then the motion time-lapse. Then we will do a long exposure motion time-lapse in daylight and night. Let's start if you are ready. Let's see what equipment we need first. If you are going to do time-lapse with a fixed frame, you need a tripod and a camera. With these two equipment you can do a time-lapse like this. Or like this. But now the standard time-lapse is outdated. If you want to make a moving time-lapse, you will need a ZHIYUN crane too. You can put your own tripod on the bottom or put it on another tripod. So you can motion time-lapse or long exposure motion time-lapse. Let's look at the difference between normal and long exposure. When you bring these two videos together, you can see the difference. In this video on the left, people appear blurred because each frame is exposed for 2 seconds. In the video on the right, people appear cleared because each frame is taken with 125 snapshots. So in the video on the left, the background is clear, people appear blurred, everything in the video right looks clear. So how we can do long exposure during the day? In daylight we cannot make a 2-second exposure, even if the ISO is set to the lowest and the aperture is raised to the maximum level, because there is too much light. That's why we need to use a ND filter. I will back to ND filter again. Let's talk about the time-lapse settings for Sony and Canon first. You don't need to buy a time-lapse app for your Sony camera, because with the method I will tell, the time-lapse will be done throughout crane too. First we set the image aspect ratio to 16:9, so every photo taken will be in video format. You can also take photos as RAW and JPEG. Note that the file size of each photo taken when you shoot RAW is too large and a high capacity memory card is required. I usually use high quality JPEG. Then make sure the USB connection is auto. Connect the multi-end of the Sony cable from the package to the Sony and the other end on the crane 2. Make sure the camera is in photo mode. Crane 2 over the menu, camera, and pressing the right button to select Sony. Then press the right button again to the set to on. Return to the main screen and press the mode button to activate the gimbal. Shut down the whole system. First open the camera and then crane 2. Press the shutter button on crane 2 to check if a picture is taken. If you can take photos, the connection is made without any problems. Let us come to the time-lapse construction. Open the ZHIYUN app and link to crane 2. Press the normal icon at the top and select moving time-lapse. We will determine which position to move throughout the pop-up window. Switch the gimbal lock mode. Then move to the start point with joystick. At the location via ZHIYUN app, press the position information. Then select the location you want to finish. You can also roll if you want. You can switch between 5 locations, but I think 2 or 3 locations will give excellent results. After selecting locations, press next. The time-lapse settings menu will open. Here you can set how long to wait between the time interval section and between the photos. In this example, I will set the 2 seconds. From the duration section, you can set how long the shooting takes in total. If you select the save form part as a video, the shooting will not start. So you can choose photo as. Pressing start will start shooting. When shooting is finished, the gimbal will return to its opening position. Now let's get to the computer. In this shoot, you can edit these photos individually or collectively in programs such as Photoshop or Lightroom. I'm going to use Adobe Premiere Pro to make these photos from time-lapse. Let's create a new project first. Then I'm going to drop the Full HD 50 fps videos that I shot earlier on the sequence so that it can copy its settings. So the same setup will be in sequence. Then I can delete this video. I'm going to pick the photos I shoot and drop them in the project section. When all photos are selected, right click and click on Clip Speed and Duration. I will set the duration section to 2 split seconds. Now I am going to pick up all the pictures again and throw them into the sequence. The photos are big and they won't fit in the video. So when all photos in the section are selected, right click and select the scale to frame size. It was now available in Full HD format. If you notice the jump when you play the video, don't worry, we will figure it out now. Select all photos of the top of the sequence, then right click Make Subsequence. You can see a new sequence in the project section. Discard this sequence into current sequence and delete all photos. Now take Warp Stabilizer from the effects section and drop it onto the video. The analysis will begin. After the analysis is finished, you can save the video by rendering. And here is the result. Let's make motion timelapse with Canon. Canon has much simpler menu, because there is a timelapse menu in itself, and to shoot it makes present as directly video. I'm using 80D and new ASR. First, switch your camera to video mode, then active the timelapse. ASR is able to Full HD or 4K timelapse, but I'm going to choose Full HD in this shoot. From the interval section, you can set when to wait between photos. As you can see at the bottom, changing these settings will only change your total waiting time. The video duration doesn't change. Then select off the total number of the frames to be taken. The changes you make here change both the total time and the video duration. Select the frame before the start timelapse. This allows you to control the exposure settings. Press the camera recording button once, then press the shutter button again. Timelapse will be start. You can save energy by pressing the info button. If you want to cancel timelapse, just press the record button. You can see the number of shoot lefts on the information screen. This time we won't connect with a cable. Open the ZHIYUN app as before and connect the ZHIYUN crane too. Then press the normal icon at the top. We will make the location settings for the window. Switch the gimbal in lock mode. Specify the start and end position and press next. From the timelapse menu, do the same interval settings we did on the camera here. Again, do the same as duration setting you made on the camera. This time select the video as save form. Press the camera recording button once, then press the shutter button, and then press start on ZHIYUN Play app. Motion timelapse will start. And the result, it's much easier to do this in Canon. Now let's go out and we make long exposure motion timelapse in daylight. As I said at the beginning of the video, we need to use ND filters to make long exposures in daylight. I'm going to use a 10-stop ND filter. You can do this with the standard kit lens or more professional lens. The purpose of ND filter I use is to neutralize the light for 10 more stops, so turning the day into a night, so I can do long exposure in daylight. Normally you can't shoot long exposure videos on Canon camera. You can set the shutter speed up to 1/50. However, when you set it to timelapse, you can set this time up to 30 seconds. I will set the shutter speed to 2 seconds while I am doing long exposure. I'll leave the aperture and ISO settings to you. Interval 5 seconds. Number of shoots 360. Total shooting time is shown as 30 minutes. The duration of the video will take 14 seconds. That's exactly what the shoot is. And here is the result. Finally, we make long exposure motion time-lapse in night. We don't need to use any filters anymore, because the weather is dark enough. The biggest problem I have ever had was trying to make these shoots in overpass, and the overpass was always swinging by cars. In fact, when the long exposure is perfectly, the lines will be flat. But when the camera moves, the lines will appear as waveforms. Make sure that the day of shooting is not windy. For example, I made a tripod on the concrete at a different angle. I had a better result. My advice would be to take it out of a high place, in a windless weather, or in an indoor space. Now let's see what I have shot. In this video we will learn how to make long exposure motion time-lapse video in daylight and night. Don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. And see you in next video. Bye.